This is The Top, where I interview entrepreneurs who are number one or number two in their industry in terms of revenue or customer base. You'll learn how much revenue they're making, what their marketing funnel looks like, and how many customers they have.
I'm now at $20,000 per top.
5 and 6 million.
He is hell-bent on global domination. We just broke our 100,000 unit sold mark.
And I'm your host, Nathan Latka.
Okay, Top Tribe, this week's winner of the $100 is Rich Jones. Okay, Rich Jones, he is stuck in corporate. He wants to break free. He's binging on the show. For your chance to win $100 every Monday morning, simply subscribe to the podcast right now on iTunes and then text the word Nathan to 33444 to prove that you did it. Many people ask me what tool I used to sell my first company, Heyo. The answer is thetopinbox.com. I used it to send emails, schedule emails to be sent out later, and set reminders inside my inbox so I would know when potential buyers were actually interested, and I easily remember to follow up with ones that hadn't replied to me. You can try it for free at thetopinbox.com. Nathan Latka here. This is episode 506. Coming up tomorrow morning, we talk to Abhimanyu, who's the CEO of Botter, a chatbot where he's raised $300,000 and helps your audience talk to you and get answers. Folks, good morning. Nathan Latka here, and our guest today is Alan White. He's the co-founder and CEO of Klipfolio, a SaaS dashboard company headquartered in Ottawa. He's focused on making it easier and faster for SMBs to monitor the health and performance of their businesses, and they're taking an interesting approach. It's self-serve in the cloud, right to business users, eliminating the need for them to work with IT procurement or make huge upfront investments. They've got over 5,900 customers, including Jet.com, Zendesk, LifeLock, and many, many more. They also have funding. They're backed. We'll talk about that in a second. But Alan, are you ready to take us to the top?
Yeah, I'm good to go.
Okay, good. Tell us first, what does Klipfolio do and how do you generate revenue?
For sure. So we're totally focused on business owners that mostly, in small and mid-sized companies, business owners that really want to grow their companies. They really want to find out what do they need to do on a day-to-day basis so that they can better control their decisions, make smarter decisions, basically build better companies at the end of the day. And there's so much data that's floating around these companies today, everything from marketing data to sales data to support and services data, that keeping sort of the pulse on what your business is doing, so the health of your business, is actually pretty difficult. And what's actually more worrying is that a ton of these small and mid-sized business owners and managers actually are not monitoring their business on a real-time basis. So they actually feel like they're not in control of what's going on. Mm-hmm. So we're really in the business of helping them figure out what to do, what metrics to monitor, how to make the best decisions. And that's how we do it. We sell a dashboard that brings all of that data into a single screen that really helps them make better decisions and build stronger.
So, Alan, it's a SaaS platform?
Yeah, totally. It's 100% in the cloud. I mean, we've got mobile, it runs on TVs, but it is a subscription-based SaaS platform for sure.
And on average, what's the average customer paying you per month?
About $70 to $80 on a monthly basis. So we're talking about a pretty inexpensive, a credit card type user purchasing model.
Yeah, no inside sales team there, right?
No, well, it's 100% inside sales, so we don't have an outbound sales. I think that's probably what you meant to say, right?
That is what I meant to say, yep. In other words, you don't have salespeople spending a lot of money traveling the country, landing deals, because these are too small.
No, and there's just so much opportunity. I mean, the other thing is, too, I don't know if you're like me, but today's companies, they don't want to be sold to. So if I've got a salesperson landing in my backyard and whining and diming me, I don't know. It just kind of gives me the wrong impression. We'll help our customers, but it's a totally inbound process, and we want them to make the right decision.
And so how many customers are you serving as of today, November 2016?
Yeah, so it was interesting. So I think you said 5,900 in your opening remarks.
That was off your LinkedIn.
I think we've got closer to... Yeah, that's from LinkedIn. I mean, it changes every week. So we've got about 7,000 as of today.
Okay, great. And is the math in order to get monthly recurring revenue as simple as taking 7,000 customers times your ARPU of about 70 to get about $500,000 in MRR?
Almost, except that we've got various different service offerings. So you can start at as little as $24 a month or $25 a month, and then you can go all the way up to some of our biggest customers are paying us, $1,000 or $2,000 a month for all the things that they need. But in general, I mean, you're about right. Okay. The average across all of our customers is higher, but you're about right.
That's wonderful. Okay, so let's, now that we have kind of a sense of where you're at, right? $70 ARPU, 7,000 customers, about maybe a little less, but about $500,000 in MRR. Take us back to the start, Alan. What year did you launch the company in?
So, long story, but I'll keep it short, right? Yeah. We launched it actually in 2001. And we launched it as a consumer dashboard that was super popular, but wasn't making us any revenue. So, long story, sad story, we sort of slogged it out for a great many years. And then in 2012, we launched the cloud version of the original idea. So we were always into monitoring real-time data. But it was only when we launched the cloud version aimed at small and mid-sized businesses that things really started taking off. So we sort of consider it 2012. 2000.
Oh, wow. Okay, so you really toiled there for about 10 years on the consumer dashboard.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, persistence and perseverance, that's kind of the name of the game in this shop right here.
Funding or bootstrapped?
That was all bootstrapped. Now, I mean, my partner and I, Peter and I, we had lots of conversations where we said, hey, should we go out to market and raise some funds? But we never really had, at that time, the metrics or the evidence that would say, hey, if we pour it in the top, we're going to see a good return out the bottom.
What about today, though? Have you raised as of today?
Oh, for sure. So I mean, the short story is that we launched this in 2012. And at the time, I was the only salesperson. I think we only had about 12 employees. Within our first year, so by the end of 2012, we had 350 customers. Yep. And we were thrilled. By the end of the next year, by end of 2013, we had 1,100 customers. And this is when Pete and I sat down and we said, hey, I actually think for the first time, we've got something that is growing at like a 3x here. I think we've got some efficiencies. We've got some evidence.
What, month over month, year over year, or what?
It was 3x year over year. I don't know what it was on a month to month, but probably 15 to 20% month over month. From an MRR point of view. So really solid, good early growth, right? Really nice product market fit evidence in the early days. So this is when we said, hey, you know what? Let's go out because I think we legitimately can accelerate this if we do a seed round. So we did a small seed round, a $1.7 million seed round at the beginning of 2014. Mm-hmm. We did our Series A at the beginning of 2015. So that was a $6.2 million round. Okay. And we've been managing to accelerate the business, ever since. So, we were 1,100 when we did our seed. And now we've got just around 7,000 customers.
So is that 7.9 million in total funds, somewhere around there?
Yeah, exactly. So that's what's into the company right now.
And Alan, if I'm a betting man, if that $6.2 million Series A, which I think you got from OMERS, right?
Yep, that's right.
Yeah, so if that was back in early 2015, you right now being it's over a year later, you are either, or close to a year later, you are either thinking about raising another round of capital, or you're in the middle of acquisition talks. Which one is it?
I think you're a pretty smart guy. I think it's definitely.
Come on, Alan.
It's definitely. It's definitely the first one. I mean, listen, we're having so much fun, and we've got such a totally wicked team that
how big is it? How many team members?
We've got about 70 people, and they're awesome. They're absolutely totally. We've got 4 people in India, really, really good people in India, too, to sort of help us with the overnight support. But you know what? We're having too much fun to be acquired right now.
Yeah. Okay. So you're thinking maybe considering raising capital. Do you have any idea? I mean, just teach your audience in a Series B about how much money you think about raising.
So we did 6.2 in our Series A. If you're looking for a Series B, you have to be able to take it to your next metric. So we need to sort of be able to take it to our Series C metric. And generally speaking, you want to try to do that in about a 2-year time frame. So we sort of reverse that back, right? What is our opportunity? What do we really want to do? Where do we need to invest? So, I think, a good solid Series B. And if you look at the market today, it's anywhere between, 10 to maybe 15 to $20 million.
So Series C or Series B?
Series B. So
Okay.
Series B is 10 to 15 is where most companies are landing their Series B.
And what are you doing? Usually giving up, 5 to 10% of the business there, or a little bit more?
No, at a Series B, I think you're generally giving up a little bit more. So Series A, you're generally, looking at more like 20 to 30%. And if you're looking at a Series B, you're anywhere from maybe 15 to 25% at the max.
Okay, got it. So
it starts coming down a touch, but it really varies too, right? Depending on what space you're in. I mean, it depends on your multiple as well, right? If you're in a really, really hot space like AI and machine learning, you could probably get a 11 to 12 times multiple.
do you think you're in a hot
ARR.
space?
I think we're in a really good space. I don't think we're in one of those hyped spaces.
Yeah.
I think, and I don't know that it's necessarily good or bad to be in a space like that. There's undue pressure if you are. But I think with SMB and the fact that, one of the things that's super exciting for us is that SMB right now, small and mid-sized business market, is still a greenfield opportunity. There is no dashboard right now that is the number one or the leader in the SMB. So,
Why did Dashroo fail? They just raised $3.5 million. They're shutting down. Why'd they fail and you win?
You know what? There are so many reasons why a small or mid-sized business will grow or fail. And Dashroo did some really smart things. They had a really good content and marketing engine. So I'm not close enough to where it didn't work out.
Yeah.
I know that, Dashroo, along with a couple of other folks, are what we would consider widget engines. So there's not a lot of depth to those kind of offerings. Mm-hmm. With Klipfolio, with our offering, you can actually calculate and mash together your own metrics. And I think that's important. I think, a customer will come in and they'll say, hey, I'm cool if you spoon feed me some, standard templated metrics. But at some point, I don't want to modify those, or I have to make those actually truly my own. So having an editor or being able to calculate and do custom stuff is actually pretty important. And I know that Dashroo didn't have that. So I'm speculating, but, my heart goes out to those guys. I'm a small business CEO as well. In our case, we're kind of cranking and growing really nicely. Well, but it's hard.
They had a big exit with Vertical Response. They'll be fine.
For sure they will. And I know John, and I know those guys, and I've chatted with them. Right, they'll be totally fine. But it's not a win-win kind of situation for sure.
Who would you consider maybe your two or three kind of competitors that you respect the most in the space?
It's a good question. I think let me put out the standard answer first, but I think there's some legitimacy to that. The standard answer is it's the Excels or the Google Sheets. The kind of status quo. So I'm building a dashboard and I'm building it, using my own stuff, right? So that's kind of the way it's being done today. I think the other one that is probably doing the most interesting stuff is probably Microsoft's Power BI product. I think they're probably our most formidable or most close competitor. But what's cool is that the SMB is such a massive market and there's room for multiple winners. And generally, we found that the Microsoft folks stick within Microsoft's ecosystem, and then there's everybody else.
Yep.
So why don't we take everybody else and Microsoft?
I like that. Let's talk very quickly before we get into the final part of the show just about unit economics, because you're kind of advanced and I can tell your mind's in this stuff. Talk to me about churn. So what is your gross monthly customer churn?
So in an SMB space, you'll always have a gross monthly churn or logo churn that is higher than you would if you were selling, like a $500,000 product, right? It makes total sense. The investment is different. We have folks that start up for trials and they start paying for trials and they really just want to extend their trial. So it's a very different model. So we're hitting around a logo churn and a gross monthly churn. It's about the same metric that is in between maybe 3% at the best per month, to maybe 3 3/4 on a monthly basis.
That's still pretty healthy, Alan, for your ARPU level, considering how many small businesses go out of business.
I mean, it's so you can never look at one metric only in isolation, right? You've got to take everything in with a grain of salt, right? So the fact that we're growing at over 2x, I think, is an important sort of metric to look at as well. And if I take a look at my CAC payback period, which is about 8 to 10 months, or if I take a look at my LTV to CAC ratio, like the lifetime value to CAC ratio, it's healthy as well. It's about a 4. So all of those things combined, it paints a good picture. But are we going to target driving that churn down? Absolutely, right? And investments in product, investments in onboarding, investments in customer success. These are all things that we're totally focused on.
So, Alan, let me unpack those numbers real quick. You just mentioned you had about a 10-month payback period, correct?
Yep.
Okay, and at a $70 ARPU, is it fair to say you're spending about $700 on customer acquisition?
Nathan, you're brilliant. I mean, I don't know how you do it. It's amazing.
I do this every day. But if I then take that out and do a 4-to-1, which by the way is better than industry standard of 3-to-1, it's fair to say you're projecting lifetime value at somewhere around 33 months times $70 a month, which is about $2,300 in lifetime value.
Yeah,
right?
Totally.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, exactly. So it's healthy. It's good.
That's great. No, these are all healthy. Here's a question. You're the perfect person to ask this to. A lot of people know these numbers and stuff, but data by itself is not interesting. And this is where I think this is where Dasher failed, to be honest with you. You've got to be able to figure out how to actually tell the CEO how to make changes in their business based off the data. And that is so difficult to actually code because it's so subjective. How do you try and codify that in Klipfolio?
I don't know that we necessarily codify that today. What we do is we do run a lot of webinars. We do team with a lot of sort of industry experts like Rand Fishkin at Moz, right, to really sort of educate people on what's important, and if my metric is here, what do I do? So I think eventually we'd like to bubble up sort of the best practices or the benchmark kind of data. But we're not at that stage yet. I think right now it really is more of an educational, I don't want to say hand-holding, but it's an educational partnership with our customers. Yep. They really need to understand, well, if my metric is here, do I step on the gas or do I tap the brakes, right? And I think right now it's education.
That makes good sense. And then real quick, before we get into the last part of the show, Alan, tell us real quick, what's your guys' what revenue goal for 2016 would make you and your team super happy if you hit it?
We're doing another doubling. And I'm actually meeting with my exec team this afternoon for a strat meeting, and we're talking about exactly that.
That's good.
And it's sort of a top down. It's hey, listen, we're going to get a 2x. What do we need to put in place? What resources, what investments, what programs do we need to do to hit this?
And did you do about $4 million in 2015, somewhere around there?
A little bit more.
A little bit more. Okay, so
maybe in 2015?
Yeah.
Last year. It was a 2x as well, so a little less than that.
Okay, so call it somewhere around 3-ish. I'm just taking your MRR and trying to back down growth, so 2x, 3 million.
Yeah, for sure.
Very cool.
For sure.
So $6 million revenue, that puts you pretty healthy. I mean, I've talked to a lot of people in kind of the dashboard space, so congratulations on the growth.
Yeah, we're thrilled.
Where's the best place, Alan, if people want to follow you as you build this business, where's the best place for them to connect with you online?
I think LinkedIn or Twitter is great. I do a weekly or biweekly blog as well, where I talk about sort of the CEO gig, things I've learned, things I've mocked up. So follow me there too. But I'm happy to chat with people and happy to help small businesses as well.
So many of you have heard me talk about wanting to take a company public by the time I turn 30. I'm 27 now, and I have identified what I will build and take public. It's called thetopinbox.com. No questions asked. Here's why. Salespeople hate using tools like Yesware and ToutApp and Salesforce because they don't have to log in and update their pipelines just for their bosses. So I was using this company called The Top Inbox, or something very similar, that allows you to track emails, set open reminders, set auto follow-up sequences to people to make sure you get replies, and to frankly close more deals. In fact, I use this concept to sell my whole business, Heyo.com. I saw when investors opened, when buyers opened, when they replied, I followed up and I sold it. So I bought the whole business. I will take it public. You should get on right now before I decide to start charging for this thing. It's totally free. thetopinbox.com. Okay, Top Tribe, I have to tell you, many people go, Nathan, you came out of nowhere. Your website's growing so fast. How'd you do it? The answer is simple. So I use HostGator. I don't know if you guys know that, but I use HostGator. And the reason I do, they have like about 4,500 free templates I can use because I don't code. They've got a great e-commerce plugin. And guys, I bug the heck out of their support. They've got 24/7 support, which I love. So what I've done is I've worked with them. You guys know I make great deals. If you go to HostGator.com/Nathan, you can sign up, get your own domain for 30% off and a 45-day money-back guarantee. Okay, again, I make great deals for you guys. Go to HostGator.com/Nathan to grab that now. All right, Top Tribe, link to that in the show notes at nathanlatka.com/the top 506. Again, /the top 506. All right, Alan, time for the famous five. These are rapid fire questions, really quick answers. You ready?
Sure.
Number one, favorite business book.
Okay, Nathan, you just broke up, so
sure.
say that again.
What's your favorite business book?
I'd actually say Good to Great was one of the ones that I got most of out of it.
Number two, is there a CEO you're following or studying right now?
No. There's a lot of folks that I follow and look at, but not one specific one.
Number three, is there a favorite online tool you have, like TopTal?
I would say Mixpanel is probably our favorite one right now.
Number four, yes or no, do you get 8 hours of sleep every night?
You know what? I actually almost do.
That's good. And what's your situation? Married, single? Do you have kids?
Married with kids.
How many?
2 kids, 2 girls.
All righty. And how old are you, Alan?
I am 43.
All right. So last question. Take us back 23 years. What do you wish your 20-year-old self knew?
You know what? I started my first company when I was, when I was maybe 16, but I think what I should have done differently then is I should have spent more time really understanding people. Like really the emotional quotient of people and how they work together in teams is probably the most important thing. Like you can find smart people everywhere, but can you find awesome, really good team motivated people? That's much more difficult in coaching them. So I think that's where I would have probably spent more time.
Top Tribe, there you have it from Alan, the CEO of Klipfolio. Over 7,000 customers, 7.9 million raised, about $3 million in 2015 revenue, $70 ARPU, again about $500,000 in monthly recurring revenue. Really healthy gross monthly churn for this space at 3% with a CAC to LTV ratio of 4 and a lifetime value of about $2,400 with his team of 70 based mainly up there in Ottawa. Alan, thank you for taking us to the top.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks, Nathan.
If you enjoyed Alan today, go back and listen to Johnny yesterday. He's the CEO of Quill.co, which prepays contractors and freelancers money that they've earned. He's prepaid over $10 million. So how does he do it? And how does he make money? Top Tribe, I love giving away free money. I feel like Oprah giving away cars, and I have something special for you today. How many of you have heard our super sharp guests talk about success they've had with Facebook and Google Ads? Well, all of you listening right now, yes, if you're listening, you get $100 in free AdWords. Here's how you get it. Okay. Again, thanks for listening. Get the free $100 from Google, right? When you sign up with my website host provider, HostGator. Go sign up now to get your free money. HostGator.com/Nathan. Again, that's HostGator.com/Nathan. Okay, Top Tribe, I'll see you bright and early tomorrow morning. And don't forget, before you listen to any other episodes, subscribe on iTunes right now for your chance to win $100 every Monday.